Hey folks, this is Rhykker with a gaming news wrap-up video where we discuss the happenings of the week. This week's topics include the disastrous launch of the GTA Remastered Trilogy, signs of a skill hotbar coming to Diablo 2 Resurrected, Diablo Immortal's production director leaving Blizzard, and more. As always, discussion timestamps can be found in the description below, but right before you skip ahead, just a quick reminder to ring that sub notification bell to be alerted to new Saturday episodes and stay up to date with gaming news highlights. Now, before we move on, just a quick word from this video's sponsor, Raycon. I got myself a pair of Raycon everyday earbuds. I've been using earbuds most of my life, and I've always been concerned about going wireless. Won't they just fall out? Well, not these. These Bluetooth earbuds have a 32-hour battery life with 8 hours of continuous playtime, and they have a built-in microphone so that you can take calls or hop on voice chat with your friends. They have this rubber oil look and feel to them, and come in different hues. And with the holiday season approaching, Raycons make a great gift for anyone that likes to stay connected while away from their computer, be it listening to music, podcasts, or just staying on voice chat. I started taking walks recently, and to keep myself entertained, I listen to YouTube videos with my Raycons in my ears. But it's been chilly because Canada, so I started to wear ear warmers. And my Raycons fit perfectly comfortably underneath because unlike some other brands, Raycons don't stick out of your ears. And they also come with a bunch of different sized gel tips so that you can get the perfect fit for your ears. And they're also priced competitively. They start at half the price of other premium audio brands, but with comparable quality. Also, Raycon has a 45-day happiness guarantee return policy. So go to buyraycon.com/Rhykker or click the link in the description to get 20% off your order. That's buyraycon.com/RHYKKER to get a discount on some solid earbuds. In our first story, the GTA Remaster Trilogy released this week, and Not only do a number of the enhanced visuals seem like they were generated by an AI algorithm set to troll setting, but the performance of these ancient games on PS5 and PC have been reportedly abysmal. But hey, at least people can still buy the old games, right? Nope. Developer Rockstar removed the old versions from Steam, while the remasters are available exclusively on the Rockstar launcher, which itself was experiencing significant downtime, making people who bought the remaster unable to even play. Maybe it was just being merciful. Now, some people who actually managed to play were sad to notice that some of their favorite songs from the game were missing, which can be chalked up to Rockstar not renewing the license to use those songs. But data miners have found that the songs are still in the game files. They've just been disabled via code, meaning that Rockstar is still technically selling music that it may no longer have a license to distribute. Uh-oh. Maybe that's why they almost immediately pulled the game from sale on PC after release, while keeping it available on other platforms. Not because they're embarrassed of the product that they put out, but because they don't want to get sued. In other news, Valve's Steam Deck handheld gaming computer is being delayed by 2 months. In a blog post, Valve explained that the global supply chain issues and material shortages are preventing components from reaching their manufacturing facilities in time for them to meet their initial launch dates. February 2022 is when they now estimate Steam Decks will begin shipping, so still sooner than Half-Life 3. In other news, the ABK Workers Alliance has won a victory in its fight for better employee working conditions. Activision Blizzard has agreed to better salary and paid time off for contract workers, or temporary employees, as well as career growth and learning programs. Slowly, progress is being made. In Elden Ring news, we got a week of teasers and previews as different outlets shared gameplay footage and early thoughts on the game based on getting some playtime in. Redditor the Video Gamer has done a great job compiling everything. Check it out below if you want to see all the footage that's available, but the consensus among the preview articles seems to be highly positive. In World of Warcraft news, the devs released a preview for Eternity's End, and the downvotes are coming in hard. But don't worry, YouTube confirmed this week that it'll be hiding public downvotes in videos in the future, because apparently they want their platform to be an order of magnitude less useful for information purposes in order to spare some fees. Or is it to spare big companies from the public humiliation of a massively downvoted video? I forget. Anyway, WoW players, tell me why this one is being downvoted so hard. Is it just general unhappiness of the player base? Is it due to negative sentiment towards Blizzard? Is it because we're taking a sharp turn into weird sci-fi land? Is it because this whole Jailer and Sylvanas arc seems contrived and frustrating? Sound off in the comments. In quick last Epoch news, we got a preview of some new unique and set items coming in the next patch. Link to that in the description. And in Lost Ark news, Amazon has revealed that they are releasing an official lore series. Episode 1 of this 5-part series will premiere on November 16th, and if their release schedule is anything like my Diablo lore videos, we can expect this to run for the next 5 years. Meanwhile, I did get about 10 hours of playtime into the beta. I will have a full video covering my thoughts soon. In Diablo news, starting with Diablo 3. We got an update to the PTR that addressed some bugs and made some balance changes to the Season 25 content. The bug that allowed players to equip 2 weapon soul shards have been fixed. The Sliver of Terror, the overpowered Helm Shard, has had its base effect nerfed by 50%, and its deadly secondary effect, the Ring of Fire that would kill a GR150 Rift Guardian, has also been nerfed by making it weaker and more difficult to trigger. The Fragment of Destruction had one of its lame secondary powers removed, which simply extended the duration of its base effect by a couple of seconds, and now received a nice power for speed builds, a stacking buff that can give you up to 50% move speed. The Stain of Sin has had its base power updated. Previously, you needed to kill an elite in order to increase the damage you deal to non-elites, but this was pretty backwards, because in general, the last thing on your screen to die will be the elites. Now, once you kill a bunch of non-elites, you'll get a damage buff against elites, which makes a lot more sense. They also removed the secondary effect that froze non-elite enemies and replaced it with making an additional Rift Progress Orb drop when you kill an elite pack. I think this is a really interesting change because nothing else in the game makes more Progress Orbs drop. For the Dreg of Lies, this used to be an entirely support shard, but now they seem to be turning it into a pet build shard. Its base power used to make you deal less damage while also making enemies you hit deal less damage. Now it makes you deal less damage but makes your pets deal more damage. They removed the secondary power that doubled the damage reduction and replaced it with a stacking buff. Each time your pet hits an enemy, your damage is increased by 1% for 5 seconds. This stacks up to 100 times. When you reach 100 stacks, the stacks quickly reset to 0. It's interesting that the stacks reset to 0 once you hit 100. This means that, on average, this item would give you a 50% damage buff. That is, unless there's some way to game the system to stay near 100 but let stacks drop off. Haven't had a chance to play this update yet as of the time of this recording, but in general, most stacks all fall off at the same time in this game. Then the Essence of Anguish got a nerf. That was the overpowered weapon shard. Its base power has been nerfed by 50%, and the secondary power that spreads damage on a death blow was nerfed in a couple different ways. First off, a bug was fixed that made it deal more damage than intended. Also, only a player's attack can now trigger the effect, and the interaction with the Sever weapon has been removed. Anything that ever interacts with Sever is just broken, so that was expected. The Witch Doctor's updated Rhykker set was still not performing as well as players would have liked from both a power perspective and a gameplay perspective, so some quality of life reworks are being made along with a power buff via allowing corpse spiders to now benefit from pet buffs, also by allowing the Ring of Emptiness to benefit attacks from all non-fetish pets, and also allowing Depth Diggers to work with all primary skills, not just resource generating skills. The Rhykker set's damage reduction is now easier to maintain, and it'll now be easier to spread damage to multiple enemies. For Demon Hunter, the Bombardier's Rucksack now grants a damage buff to Cluster Arrow in order to encourage the use of Cluster Arrow with the updated Marauder build rather than the multi-shot variant that we're seeing pushing Greater Rifts. And good news for Wizards, I didn't expect this, but they are completely reverting the perhaps overly harsh nerf to Firebirds. Instead, they are nerfing the OP version of Firebirds by making it so that pets no longer work with triggering the build's damage bonus. So this kills the mirror image variant of the build without killing the regular, less powerful version of Firebirds. Onto Diablo 2 Resurrected news. Redditor Mr. Tank Jump noticed some very interesting things in the game file since the last update. Things that suggest that the ability to have the skill hotbar that controller gets will come to mouse and keyboard. As you can see, this string of text he found mentions quick cast skills and says, quote, Enable this to make pressing a binded skill hotkey instantly cast the skill in the direction or location of your mouse cursor. While this isn't confirmation, this is great news for a lot of players who wanted to have this option. Purists may complain, but the fact is that this hotbar already exists if you just plug in a controller. We have controller support, the controller has the hotbar, so what is the argument against allowing the hotbar for mouse and keyboard as well? PC version has a hotbar whether we like it or not. It's just that it's restricted to controller right now. The lack of a hotbar is one of the ways in which D2R really shows its age. An optional hotbar would be a huge quality of life improvement for many players. On to Diablo Immortal news. The production director of Diablo Immortal, Caleb Arsenault, is leaving Blizzard. Now, he and Wyatt Cheng were the two major public figures on the game, and he revealed via a post on LinkedIn recently that he was moving on. Quote, "This is my last week at Blizzard after over 3 years. I've cherished the time I've spent here and all the wonderful people I've worked with along the way. Diablo Immortal is a fantastic game made by a passionate and talented team that I will miss dearly. I am beyond excited about my next role and looking forward to taking on a new challenge." Arsenault seems to have been well liked and well respected by a large number of people on his team, and while I normally would be wary of a major figure leaving a company shortly before the game he's been working on for years launches, I have a theory as to what may have happened here. First off, there's a lot of poaching happening in the gaming industry right now. Devs are frequently receiving unsolicited offers to come work for them, so there's a lot of opportunity out there. And based on Arsenault's post, it does sound like he has another job lined up already outside of Blizzard. Second, it's quite coincidental that his departure is happening around the time that Diablo Immortal was expected to be originally launching. Remember, it was just announced a few months ago that it would be delayed to 2022 in order to add controller support, but previously they were targeting Q4 2021. So, my theory is that early in the year, Arsenault received a new job opportunity that was very enticing, during a time at which he was probably wondering, well, by end of year, Immortal's shipping, so what's next for me? I imagine he agreed to take the job offer on the condition that he could start towards the end of this year, after the expected release date of Immortal. So he can see Immortal through to launch and then move on to the new opportunity. But then Immortal's release date got pushed back, but he'd already signed the contract to begin his new job on a specific date. But again, this is just my theory. Arsenault has remained very positive about Immortal, and he's been one of the faces of the game as recently as when beta launched a couple weeks ago, so I don't believe his departure says anything negative about Immortal. And in other Immortal news, Wowhead has been continuing their data mining, uncovering new armor sets for different classes, what appear to be new cosmetic armor sets, and some evidence of what may be a new class coming to the game, the Blood Knight. Links to all that in the description. And lastly, in Diablo 1 news, Diasurgical, the team behind the Devolution X Diablo port, have released a major update, now with native support for Android, and you can get it straight from the Google Play Store. That's right, you can now play Diablo 1 on your phone through a Google Play Store download. Now, for legal reasons, you can only play the free demo portion of the game, unless you own a copy of Diablo 1, and you just copy a file over from your Diablo 1 installation into your Devolution folder, and then you can play the full Diablo 1 legally on your Android device. And that's going to wrap up this week's video. But do be sure to have checked out last video in which we discuss why Activision Blizzard stock recently plummeted. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to my Twitch, Patreon, and YouTube supporters for making these videos possible. If you like what you see on this channel and want to support the creation of more content, you can consider pledging on YouTube or Patreon and unlocking behind-the-scenes content, monthly virtual hangouts, and more. If you enjoyed this video, please share it. Check out these other videos and subscribe to join Rhykkers Raiders for more gaming content.